What's up, YouTube? My name is Malkel. Today, we're going to be checking out the Monk class, my favorite class in Pantheon. Okay, so here we are on a Monk that would have the abilities that a level 1 would have. Let's explain these very quickly. This one in the top slot here is considered a technique. It requires 1000 readiness. Readiness is determined by this little white bar here. You can see that I have full readiness at the moment. You may start with 0. When you have 1000 readiness, you can spend it on Iron Palm. Iron Palm will just do a little bit of damage and is going to do more damage to armored targets. You also have Wandering Fist, which deals damage, and for 6 seconds it allows you to do another ability based on what gate you have open. We'll talk more about gates a little bit later on, but for now, we know that without a gate active, it's going to give us Wandering Wild, which I'll go ahead and demonstrate now. We can see now that our Wandering Fist turned to Wandering Wind, and when activated, it will allow us to dodge the next source of physical damage at a guaranteed success rate. So at level 1, just spam your technique, spam your Wandering Fist, spam your Wandering Wind to reduce the damage you take. You'll have no problem with your first few combats and getting up to level 2. At level 2, we are granted our first range attack and a very good tool for pulling, which is an important job as a monk. You will be tasked with pulling in groups very often, so having a Soul Shuriken is very helpful. The Soul Shuriken can reduce the target's assist radius, making it much easier to split up pulls. You can also use it from melee range to do additional damage. We'll see that here. Here's the Soul Shuriken. As you can see, I was able to use it from range, and once it refreshes, we are going to be able to also use it from melee. Here we go now. Boom. Continue to use your abilities, your techniques, your Wandering Wind, your Wandering Fist, and just hit your shurikens. Let's move on to the next level. At level 3, the monk does not learn any new abilities. However, at level 4, we get access to Chi Spear. This can be used from medium or close range, and it does high nature damage. Be sure to use it on cooldown for maximum DPS. Let's see it here. Continue to use your other abilities as well to maximize DPS. Let's move on to level 5. At level 5, you get some pretty interesting abilities, but bear with me here, some of these are quite complicated. I'm going to try to break them down for you as best as I can. The first thing we get that we're going to go over is our Gate of Anger. When you learn this scroll and you right click it, it's going to put this little icon here in the middle of your screen. By default, I believe that the hotkey is T. I have it set to E, but that's just personal preference. You can leave it on T if you like. When Gate of Anger is activated, you will increase your threat generation significantly. 250% increased threat. It does say that the block chance is increased on this ability. However, that was nerfed in a recent patch, and the tooltip has not been updated. So disregard the increased block chance. This only increases your threat. Now, as I mentioned, at level 1, we have Wandering Fist, and it will change what it does based on what gate you are in. So, that being said, when we use it, if we have Gate of Anger up, as I will demonstrate, it will change what will happen. So let's see that here. Gate of Anger is activated. As you can see, it's up here in the buff. This is on cooldown. We're going to hit Wandering Fist, and now we have access to Wandering Rancor, which is essentially just a taunt. Use this if the mob goes onto your healer in a group, or if you just need to pick it up off your friend that you're partnering with. They're getting low health. You can pop your Gate of Anger, pop your Wandering Fist, and then hit your Wandering Rancor. This is the only new skill that you get at level 5. However, we do unlock new techniques based on our weapon skill. And at level 5, we should be able to unlock our Spearhand Strike and our Exposure. I'm not 100% sure if we got Exposure at level 6 or level 5. But I'll go ahead and go over it now. Exposure is really only useful in group content. In group content, we can apply exposure, and the caster DPS in our groups can interact with the exposed state to apply very powerful debuffs. So while you're grouping, once you hit around level 5 or 6, ask any caster DPS, such as a wizard, or a summoner, or an enchanter or necromancer, if they can benefit from the exposed state. If they can, be sure to apply exposure to help them out. There's also some nice things that they can do for you. If they apply opening gap, we can then use our Spear Hand Strike to apply powerful debuffs for us. If we're using our hand-to-hand, we can apply a minus 25% action speed debuff to the target. And if we're using a blunt weapon, we can reduce all resistances of the enemy by 20%, which will increase the damage of not only our own Soul Spear, or Soul Shuriken and Chi Spear, but also the damage of all members in our party, which your wizards will really love you for. Be sure to interact with the group technique system. Let's move on to level 6. At level 6, monks get 2 new abilities, and one of them is very nice. You'll be using it all the time. We get our Resonating Strike, which to me, if you played EverQuest, feels a lot like Mint. However, the healing that we receive is based on the damage that we do. So when we hit with Resonating Strike, we will return a decent amount of life. We also get access to Chi Guidance, which is just a little DPS increase. Pop this to reduce the armor of the target and allow your attacks to hit harder. It's very nice to combo this up with Resonating Strike when you need a big heal. Let's see that in play here. As you can see, I'm losing a little bit of life. I'm going to go ahead and pop my Chi Guidance, which we can see that we have a buff here, which will have our attacks gain additional penetration of the target's armor. We can hit this here, and you can see that I hit for 46 and I healed for 69, returning me back to full life. Continue to use your other abilities to kill the enemy quickly. Let's move on to level 7. At level 7, monks do not learn any new skills per se. However, they do get access to a new technique, Concussive Strike. Concussive Strike is an interrupt. You can use this to interrupt very powerful abilities that enemies might use against you. Let's demonstrate that now. We can see here that the Picklox is able to cast an ability. When he uses it, we can interrupt it with Concussive. Bang! We stop that Bloodletter from hitting us and doing a lot of damage to us. Let's move on to level 8. At level 8, we get one new skill. We get Focus Chi, which just will simply increase the damage of our next technique used. Remember, these up here are our techniques. So, at this level, you'd want to use this with your Iron Palm. Let's show that off here. I also like to use my Chi Guidance along with it as well. So, we're going to pop both of our cooldowns here and hit a very juicy Iron Palm. These have a long cooldown, so use them when you really need it. Let's move on to level 9. At level 9, monks receive Rock Stance. Rock Stance will give you a defensive cooldown. Concentrate your flow of Chi in a defensive manner, reducing your attack speed by 50%. Increase your block chance by 25%, parry chance by 25%, and armor class by 3 per level for 15 seconds. Not much to show off here, other than it's just a defensive. Here's what it looks like. Let's move on to level 10. Alright, we have finally made it to level 10, a very iconic level for the monk. We receive our Feigned Death and Will Kick. Feigned Death can be used to escape death. Use it to drop combat on enemies to help you split up the enemies, or to just get away. Let's demonstrate it real quick. We have this Thicket Stalker coming after us. We are in trouble. We need to get away. Let's hit Feigned Death. Our Feigned Death was successful. Our enemies have forgotten about us. We can safely get away from the enemy now. Let's also show off our Wheel Kick. Wheel Kick has both a passive effect and an active effect. Generally speaking, it seems that just allowing the passive effect to do its magic is a good play. However, if you need upfront immediate damage, you may want to activate Wheel Kick for additional damage. Let's show it off here as well. So while auto attacking, you may notice that Wheel Kick just fires automatically. I've done 32 damage and 23 damage with my Wheel Kicks. These just proc automatically. However, if I'd like, I can also activate it for an immediate damage hit. There we go. Level 10. What a beauty. All right. You have now made it to level 11. A very big level for monks right now in Pantheon. At level 11, you will reach 34 weapon skill, which will unlock Flurry, one of your most powerful abilities. You will want to use Flurry as much as possible because it does very high damage. We do not learn any new skills at level 11. However, this ability more than makes up for that. Be sure to use this as much as possible, but don't forget to continue to help your group with your group techniques. Let's see Flurry in action. Boom. So much damage. Use this as much as possible. It will unleash 4 very powerful attacks. Continue to do this until the mob is dead. Let's move on to level 12. Alright, so we've made it to level 12. We receive 2 new abilities, Harmonious Frame and Elbow Strike. Harmonious Frame will increase all incoming healing by 20%. This will also affect our Resonating Strike, giving it the ability to heal you for even more. So if you really need a big heal, you can pop Cheat Guidance, Harmonious Frame, and Resonating Strike for a large heal. The Elbow Strike is essentially the same thing as Wheel Kick. While auto-attacking, you will occasionally just perform an Elbow Strike. You can also activate it for upfront damage. There's an Elbow Strike there. Monks do not learn any new skills at level 13. However, at level 14, we learn Backflip. Backflip, when used, will just guarantee that you dodge the next source of incoming physical damage. Let's move on to the next. At level 15, monks do not learn any new skills. However, they do learn Scorpion Kick once they reach a skill level in their main hand weapon of 46. Scorpion Kick is a new group-based technique ability that can do 2 new effects. When hand-to-hand, it can reduce the damage of the enemies by 8%. However, with blunt, it can reduce the armor by 20%. This is very nice for increasing your damage. Be sure to apply this as needed. Let's move on to the next level. Level 16. At level 16, monks will learn 1 new ability called Union. While channeling, you will restore a large amount of life. You can also pair this up with your Harmonious Frame for even more life per tick. Let's move on to the next level. Monks do not receive anything new until level 19, so 17 and 18 are pretty dry. However, at level 19, we get access to Sweep, which can be a pretty powerful and interesting ability. It's a technique that requires you to have the enemy in an off-balance state, which only a couple classes can apply, such as Wizard, Enchanter, or Ranger. When the mob is in an off-balance state, you can use Sweep to apply these powerful debuffs, putting the mob into weakened state, increasing the physical damage they receive, or with a blunt, just knocking them down. Knockdown is another state that we will talk about later with another ability. Let's move on to level 20. Alright. At level 20, monks receive 2 new abilities, Chase the Wind and Blazing Hand Punch. Blazing Hand Punch can be channeled for a period of time, starting with 200 chi and consuming up to 400 chi to do a large hit. Chase the Wind can send you forward quickly in a direction of your choosing. This has some very crazy interactions. It consider trying out a few. For example, we can go forward, but that's not all we can do with Chase the Wind. We can also go vertical. Try jumping and using Chase the Wind at the same time. This can be used to scale very high ledges, or put it all together. Maybe you want to go forward and also go in a straight line, kind of in an arc. Consider how you may use these abilities to help you pull or to get away. There's lots of fun to be had with Chase the Wind. It's a very cool ability. Let's move on to the next level. All right, so if you made it to level 24, this is actually the last level that monks have skills implemented for. At level 24, you get access to Chi Shield. Chi Shield will just simply give you a shield to negate the next effect of spell damage, up to a maximum of your life. Just pop it to prevent the next hit of damage. It's pretty nice for pulling. Also, you will unlock downward thrust at a weapon skill of 70. One moment. Let me apply that to my bar. I will show it off, however, I will not be able to use it because I cannot put the mob into a downed state. It will do additional damage in a downed state. However, it's never worth using over Flurry unless the mob is in a down state, and even so, it's debatable whether it's even worth it at all. So, you could have a blunt on, you could knock the mob down into the down state, and then try downward thrust. Give it a try and see what you think. Personally, I prefer using Flurry, as I mentioned at level 11. Hit Flurry as much as possible. So, that's it for the monk skills and abilities in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Hopefully this video was entertaining to you. If you liked the content, consider giving me a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Malkel. See you later.